Hello and welcome to another video on the Nicene Creed. So we're going to break up the portions on Jesus quite a bit because if you remember to the historical background video, if you watched that, the main debate was the deity of Jesus and who Jesus was. So we're going to look at this piece by piece, right? So it says, I believe in one Lord Jesus Christ. Through him all things were made. So I think that the first thing we need to understand is that this statement clearly identifies the deity of Jesus. So how does it do that? First, it identifies Jesus as Yahweh. That's the personal name for God that is revealed in the Old Testament. So John says this, Isaiah said this because he saw Jesus' glory and spoke about him. When you go back to Isaiah chapter 6, Isaiah says, I saw the Lord. I saw Yahweh seated on the throne. John says what Isaiah saw was actually God the Son. It was Jesus, right? Hebrews 1 also makes a big connection to this, and that's a lot longer of a text, but you could go ahead and read through that as well, right? It also says that Jesus is the co-creator with the Father and is the reason that all things were made. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. So this makes him a creator. This identifies him with Yahweh, and this makes him God, right? All of the things that were created, that's everything else, right? So if you read a New World Translation, which is the Jehovah's Witnesses Bible, they add the word other. All other things were created because they believe that God the Father created Jesus. But that's not what it says here, right? All things. If it was created, it was through him. And he isn't included in that because he was never created. He's also the purpose, right? It's the love of the Father for the Son that spills over into the creation of the world. The Father loves the Son so much that he creates the world through him and for him. This only makes sense if the Father and the Son are separate persons, right? Because otherwise it's a love for himself, and that's a selfish love. So this identifies Jesus as Yahweh, just as the New Testament does again and again through what he does, and this includes creation. I'll just make one other point here, that the identification with what Yahweh does alone is in fact a declaration of deity. So if you think about Mark chapter 2, when Jesus says the Son of Man can forgive sins, and he demonstrates that he can do that through his healing, he is identifying with Daniel 7, which is a divinity passage, and says that yes, he indeed is Yahweh because he can forgive sins. The Son of Man is in fact the Lord over all. That's just one example. There are many others that demonstrate that Jesus in fact knew that he was God and said that he was Yahweh. But I just wanted to give that tidbit for you first. So we'll keep on working through this. Hope you go to the next one.